The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Onyx Fantasy. They're coming to customers, play just $5, get $100 in bonus funds. Use promo code SGPN. And welcome everyone to the Tennis Game Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. Currently Friday night, November 14th, around 11:20 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Rosso Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the two matches taking place for the semis in Turin for the ATP Finals. Going to break down the two matchups taking place on Saturday. Before we get into those matches, though, a reminder, you can support the show by subscribing on YouTube. A reminder, you can also find the same podcast available in audio format on Spotify or Apple. So check it out that way, too. It's fine, but either way, subscribe on YouTube, leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple to help the show grow. You can find that at SGPN Tennis Gambling Podcast. Also a reminder, check out the merch store. A lot of great tennis stuff. We have sweatshirts, we have t-shirts, we have mugs, a lot of high-quality stuff. Very affordable. Think you'll like the selection that we have there. Also, other shows with the network do have their own merch, so check that out as well. And a reminder that if you want to find every single show in one convenient location, check out the SGPN feed on Spotify or Apple on your favorite podcast apps. Check it out. Get every episode of every show in one convenient feed. Search SGPN on your favorite podcast app to subscribe today. Free to subscribe. So, starting off with the recap of what happened in the last episode. Ended up splitting the lock and dog picks. For the lock, had a nice win. We had Zverev team total under 8.5 at -125 against Sinner. Zverev served out of his mind, and he still got his ass kicked. He ended up winning 7 games. Sinner is too good in Turin. Zverev had a bit of a mental lapse there late in the first set, and then Sinner eventually got the break in the second set, and it was game over. It's a nice, easy win for Sinner. Then, of course, Zverev lost to Felix. I'll mention that in a second. Before the lock, nice win as Sinner once again beat Zverev in straight sets. As for the dog, a bit of a heartbreaker there. Not going to say it was a brutal beat, though, because there were multiple breaks in the first set. But we had Felix and Shelton, first set over 10.5 at +137. We got to the 5-4 game on serve with Felix serving, and he got broken. So we needed one more hole to win and to get our third straight sweep. Unfortunately, Shelton broke and won the set. Now, I'm going to point out it's not that bad of a beat. Of course, it's unfortunate, but there was a break apiece, and I believe you ended up seeing a break while Shelton was serving for the set in the first place. So it was pretty lucky for us to even get to the 5-4 on serve game. But either way, point is we were right there. False hope, didn't work out, and we ended up losing the dog. Bit annoying, because I did pick Felix to win the match, actually, for the price, and he did. So my runner-up dog cashed, but my actual one did not. But either way, the point is the first set did go under as it landed 10. Anyway, a point is, once again, decent episode, and we'll move forward from there. So moving on to the recap of what happened on Friday, and we'll also mention the final round-robin group stage standings. So Sinner ended up beating Shelton in the straight sets, went to a breaker in the second set, but Sinner was really never challenged. He faced one break point in the entire match. He's too good in Turin, simply put. He ended up winning 81% of his first serve points. Shelton, the real issue was the second serve. He only won 42% of his second serve points. Sinner, though, is too good. Shelton beat him in the first ever meeting and has not won a set since. Pretty much rinse and repeat every time they play, and Sinner is once again into the semis without dropping a set. As for the other matchup, you saw Alcaraz once again, who the day prior ended up clinching the #1 spot in the world again. So congratulations to him as he beat Musetti. However, the other section of his group was still up for grabs. Musetti was a guy who was technically still alive, but I don't believe it was ever going to really happen for him. Either way, though, a point is you had Zverev against Felix. Actually, was Musetti eliminated at that point? I think he might have been. Let me just see if I could check that. Either way, a point is you saw Felix take on Zverev. The winner ended up advancing. The loser got eliminated. So I believe Musetti was eliminated once he ended up losing to Alcaraz the day prior. But you had a winner-take-all between Zverev and Felix, and Zverev ended up losing in straight sets. Felix played well. Zverev bricked the hell out of a volley late in the first set, which eventually culminated in the only break of the first set. And then you ended up seeing Felix, who ended up winning the second set in a tie break. But Zverev broke 0 times. So not a great showing by him. Felix was comfortable. He had 11 aces, and you're looking at Zverev, who finishes the season with 0 Grand Slams and a loss in the group stage of the ATP Finals. Not a great season for his standards. But either way, Felix, you know what? Good for him. Felix has been, I'd say, roasted on the show for a while. We turned our corner with Felix once he started winning and once we gave him out to win an event or two, and he did. But he's been fantastic. We saw him make a good run in the U.S. Open. He won a set-off Sinner in the semis. We saw him make the finals in Paris, so nice showing there. He won a couple titles this year, earlier in the year, and now he's in the semis of the ATP Finals. So congratulations to Felix, who win or lose against Alcaraz in the semis. He's had a great year. And one thing as a reminder, you can graduate from being in the clown list. I think Felix is off the clown list. I feel like as a guy who's been on the list since the beginning, I think he's earned his spot off of it. He's been very good. Like at the end of the day, to end the season in the form that he was, losing to Sinner in the final of Paris, losing to Sinner in the semis of the U.S. Open, and potentially, we'll see what happens in the semis in the ATP Finals. If he loses to Alcaraz in the semis, there is no shame in that at all. So congrats to Felix. A nice job making it out of the group and beating the likes of Zverev once again and Shelton in the group stage. Good for him. Also Sinner in the group stage as well. I mean, everybody loses to Sinner at this event. So no shame in that. But either way, nice job by Felix. Win or lose against Alcaraz for making it past the round-robin group stage. Now, for the updated standings, I have to mention those. So you ended up having Sinner winning the group, which is obvious, because of course he did, in the Bjorn Borg region, as he did not drop a set, never in doubt. I saw Felix win. He went 2-1, only lost to Sinner. No shame in that. Beat Zverev and Shelton. You saw Shelton not win a set. He went he won a set. He lost to Felix in 3, but he lost to Zverev and he lost to Sinner in straight sets. 0-3, first time here. Not a great showing. We'll see if he gets back here next year. And Zverev, who actually won the title on this court years ago, made it to the final match and ended up losing as he was able to beat Shelton and nobody else. So that's going to wrap it up for the Bjorn Borg region. For the Connors region, you saw Alcaraz win every match, did drop a set to Fritz, but either way still ended up going 3-0. De Minaur ended up going 1-2, and he still made it out. De Minaur went 1-2, Fritz went 1-2, and Musetti ended up going 1-2. But De Minaur did end up getting the head-to-head over Fritz, so he was able to get the job done. But he also, I believe, won the tiebreaker based on set differential. So either way, De Minaur did not look great, losing to Musetti and to Alcaraz, but he beat Fritz when he needed to, and he made it out of the group stage. His reward is facing off against Sinner, who he's 0-12 against. So we'll see what happens there. But either way, De Minaur, nice job. I'm shocked he made it out of the group stage, but you know what? Good for him. As for Fritz, I see Bay mentioning in the comment section. I made a tweet about it, roasting Fritz, but I'll do it again on the show. Fritz not making it out of a hard-court round-robin group stage with De Minaur and Musetti is absolutely ridiculous. Fritz, look, I know at the end of the day, Fritz does have a ceiling to his game. He also made the final of the event last year. You got to make it out of the group stage against De Minaur and Musetti. I know Alcaraz, you gave him a run. You lost in 3 sets. It is what it is. But still, look, De Minaur, I believe, was 0-16 against top 10 opponents, not including Laver Cup. So that was the first win De Minaur's had against a top 10 opponent in a long, long time. So not only did Fritz lose, he lost in straight sets. Like, it was pretty embarrassing. De Minaur said after the match, he didn't even know he could still make it out of the group stage. De Minaur thought he was eliminated before the match started, and he won anyway. So that's definitely a pretty good way of not psyching yourself out, is by thinking that you have no chance of advancing, and you actually could. So I thought that was pretty funny. But De Minaur got the job done when he needed to, and Fritz no-showed it entirely. So either way, nice win for De Minaur to somehow make it out of the group despite choking that match against Musetti, and we'll see how he does against Sinner. Probably not well, but either way, De Minaur did advance, and Fritz is going home along with Musetti, Zverev, and Shelton. Anyway, nothing else to really add here for the actual recap section. Alcaraz, though, is number 1 again. Congrats to him. Do I care? No, doesn't matter at all to me. But either way, nice job by Alcaraz to get the number one spot back, even though Sinner had it for about a week and a half. Anyway, a point is going to wrap it up for the actual recap of the group stages. Time to move on into the preview of the matches for Saturday. Before we get into the matches, a reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, Novig. So if you do like prediction markets, you can get some great prices. Check out Novig, the number one prediction market for sports in America. Get some great prices, reduce juice by shopping around. Compared to the other actual books, you'll notice Novig's prices are a lot better for a lot of different markets. But you can also check them out in a bunch of states, 35 plus to be exact, so make sure it's available in your state. But you can also get a nice deal when you sign up for your account with us at Novig, because if you download the app, you get $50 if you spend just $5 if use the code SGPN. Got an extra Novig. Promo code SGPN. Spend $5, $50 for free in bonus funds. We're also brought to you by Fantasy. So if you like under pick 'em entries, you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. You can pick higher or lower on player stats. Mix and match your sports. You have tennis. You have basketball. You have hockey. Even UFC. Big card coming up on Saturday. I'm excited for UFC. Point is, though, you can mix and match your sports. Doesn't matter. Get crazy with it. You can have some fun at Unrook. But a reminder, they have a new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and $100 bonus funds. Use promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finish recapping what happened in the group stage. Time to move on into the semis for Turin. Now, for the first match on the actual card, first match will be, just going in order here, first match is Sinner taking on de Minaur. Now, I said it before, but I'll say it again. De Minaur has had no success at all against Sinner. Same amount of wins as all of us combined. I'll listen to the podcast. He is currently 0-12 against Sinner. Now, it's not fluky. He did win a set against Sinner a couple of weeks ago, ended up losing anyway. He went God mode in that second set, and he still barely won it, and then he got killed in the third set. But either way, point is, de Minaur, stylistically, is really up against it against Sinner because de Minaur has no firepower, not a great serve, and we know Sinner has all of that, and Sinner's going to bully him around the court. Now, you're looking at them facing off in Vienna. Sinner won in straight sets. Beijing, Sinner did win in 3. That was about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, but either way, Sinner did drop a set in that one. And the Aussie Open this year, which Sinner did win in straight sets. Faced off last year in this event on the same exact court, and Sinner did win 6-3, 6-4. So Sinner has been comfortable against him on hard court, and the point is de Minaur is probably going to lose again. Now, the odds makers know this, of course, because Sinner's minus 1250 on the money line, so massive price there. De Minaur's plus 750 for the spread, minus 5.5 for Sinner. Plus 5.5 for de Minaur. It's minus 132, though, for the plus. The over-under is at 19.5. For team totals, you see de Minaur at 7.5. You see Sinner at around 12.5. Straight sets for Sinner, expensive as hell, about minus 330. I understand it, but it is what it is. So the real question is pretty simple. Does de Minaur have a chance? Or is he going to get curb stomped again? I'm going with option B. Sinner in Turin is absolutely unstoppable, and the fact that he won all the matches last year, including a win against de Minaur, in straight sets. De Minaur won one of the 3 matches he had in the group stage. He was 1-2, and he still advanced. It's not like he's playing that well. Like, de Minaur was able to advance, but the point is he has really been dropping matches here, and Sinner is just in his element on these courts. He said before in the post-match press conference against Shelton today, actually, it means a lot for him to make it into the semis again with the home crowd behind him. People forget, it's in Italy, so the crowd's going to support him a ton, especially now that Musetti lost. He's the only Italian left in the field. I think Sinner rolls at the end of the day. Now, de Minaur, maybe if he's able to find his serve, maybe he can force a 4-4 in the first set, maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, Sinner's too good. Watching him play, how do you beat the damn guy? At the end of the day, there's one guy on the entire tour that can consistently beat Sinner, or at least have more than a puncher's chance. It's Alcaraz. De Minaur has no chance of beating Sinner, unless there's an injury involved. So I think Sinner rolls. I see a pretty similar story to what we saw last year, which is Sinner only facing one break point. He actually got broken, coincidentally, but still. I think he's going to serve well. De Minaur probably won't, and Sinner probably rolls. I see a 6-3, 6-3 match. I don't see much of a chance. De Minaur looked good against Fritz, but we know Fritz is also a bit of a clown, and you're looking at de Minaur, who really was not great in the group stage. Sinner was great, did not drop a set. I think it'll look good here. Give me Sinner to win handily. I'll go with the team total under for Sinner and de Minaur for this one. Moving on to the next match, you have Alcaraz taking on Felix, closer in the head-to-head. So Alcaraz is 4-3 in the head-to-head. However, Felix was 3-0. So Alcaraz, once he actually became Alcaraz, has been able to flip the script in the head-to-head history. Now, for the recent meetings, though, said before, Alcaraz has won each of the last 4. 2 of them were on hard court back in 2023 in Indian Wells in 2024. So slower courts than what we have here in Turin. Faced off in the French Open last year, Alcaraz won in straight sets, and in the Olympics, and Alcaraz did beat Felix there too. So the hard court meetings have been a bit dated. 2 in Indian Wells, they faced off in Basel 2022, which Felix did win in straight sets. I mean, that's the fastest hard court they've played on, and Felix won in straight sets. So you can argue that maybe with the pace of the courts and the current form that Felix is in, maybe he has a puncher's chance for this one. For the pricing, though, we know Alcaraz, of course, a decent favorite, not nearly the same price as Sinner. He's minus 480, give or take. Felix is plus 350 for the over-under. I see 22.5. For the game spread, I see 3.5 for Alcaraz, minus 148. You have Felix at plus 3.5 at plus 115. If you want to bump it up, you can find 4.5 at a pretty expensive number for Felix, and you get plus 150 for the 4.5 for Alcaraz. Now, for the set spread, Alcaraz to win in straight sets is a minus 152. Felix to win a set is plus 120. So, once again, the recent meetings are a bit dated. They've not faced off on hard court for a while. They have not faced off this year. So, Felix, with the new form that he's found, maybe with his serve, did not get broken against Zverev. Maybe he can frustrate Alcaraz like Fritz did and do enough when it comes to his serving to potentially steal a set and beyond. So Alcaraz has been good in the event so far. Did almost lose to Fritz. Fritz served very well. Alcaraz took control. It kind of was expected, but he was able to beat de Minaur and Musetti in straight sets and beat Fritz in 3. For Felix, he ended up losing to Sinner, no shame in that, and beat Shelton in 3 and Zverev in straight sets. So we know Felix has been quite good over the last couple of weeks, and Alcaraz has been solid. He did end up losing in the first match he played in Paris, to Nori. So he wasn't exactly entering the event in great form, but Alcaraz found his rhythm again. Now, I have to point out that the matches that Alcaraz played in the group stage are not really going to prepare him for Felix at all. Now, you can argue Fritz might, because Fritz has a good serve, and yet Alcaraz struggled to return it for the first hour and a half. But you're looking at Alcaraz, who beat Musetti and de Minaur, 2 guys who are really not good at serving. Alcaraz was comfortable, and the fact is he was able to really just relax in the rallies because he was dealing with Musetti and de Minaur, who were going to keep the ball in play mostly, which allowed Alcaraz to be the aggressor in the rallies. Felix will not do that. Felix, for better or worse, will be aggressive. He'll pick his spots. He'll try to blow Alcaraz off the court. And I do think that Fritz showed that there is a game plan in place on these courts to maybe find a way. Now, do I think he's going to win the match? No. I think we're getting Sinner Alcaraz once again for the outrights that we gave out for the event. We did very well because we picked chalk. We picked Alcaraz and Sinner to win the groups, and we picked Alcaraz and Sinner to win the event because duh. So I think we're going to end up getting the expected final between Sinner and Alcaraz, but I will not ignore how well Felix has played in the last couple of weeks. But the point is, I do think you're looking at a spot where Alcaraz should win, but will it be easy? I'm going to say no. I think Felix actually makes him work for it. Do I think he's going to win? No. Does he win a set? I didn't say that. But I do think Felix can force a breaker, maybe even a couple of breakers. We'll see. If the Felix serve is on, Alcaraz's serve, we know, can be vulnerable at times, especially if the first serve's not falling. Felix can maybe find a way to win a set or more. So I do think Felix can, in theory, pull this off. Will I pick him to pull it off? No, I'm not going to. So I'm on the over. I thought the game spread at 3.5 was interesting for Felix, mainly for the plus money. I thought plus 115 felt pretty generous, so I don't mind that. But I don't think that Alcaraz will lose, but it might end up being a closer match than people think. Forgot to mention, by the way, for the recap, though, of the groups. So Sinner was minus 500. I said straight up he's going to win it, but I'm not betting it. So if you took Sinner minus 500, congrats on the parlay piece. For the Connors group, though, give it Alcaraz minus 150 and Fritz at 6-1. Alcaraz did win the group, so ended up winning both those. And for the Outrights to win the event, a reminder, we ended up stealing the same exact game plan we've had for every single Grand Slam. We have Sinner and Alcaraz by themselves, Sinner minus 140, Alcaraz plus 225. We might have an automatic winner if you have both the favorites, the big favorites, win their matches on Saturday. Anyway, I got nothing else to add. I mean, you got Sinner and Alcaraz playing on the same day. I feel like most people can see what's kind of coming. But either way, point is going to wrap it up for the two-match previews. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Before we get into the lock and dog, I'm brought to by our sponsor, Rhythm. So if you want to check out their model plays for college football, the NFL, for NBA, also college basketball, check them out. They also are doing giveaways every week, giveaway cash prizes every week just for tracking your bets in the app. So if you track 5 bets for a model that you build, you can win $1K. And we have a nice promo code with Rhythm. So if you use the code SGPN25, we now the app, you can get a nice quarter off your first month. Tell Rhythm, let's get a promo code SGPN25 for a quarter off your first month. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the preview of the 2 semifinal matchups taking place on Saturday in Turin. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. For the lock, you could argue that it's basically the same play, but I will go with Sinner. It's a little bit less juicy for me. I'll go for Sinner, team total under 12.5 at minus 125. I think he buries De Minaur. Simply put. Now, Sinner, I said before, is 12-0 in the head-to-head. It's been very ugly. De Minaur has won less than 5 games in 12 of his last 13 sets against Sinner. Forget the 12-0 head-to-head for winning the match. I mean for actual sets. De Minaur has been getting regularly destroyed in every set he's played, basically, against Sinner for the last couple years. I think Sinner wins easily. I think it might end up being 6-4, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. De Minaur was not playing great in the group stage. He had one great match against Fritz. Not the same. Sinner's been rolling. He did not drop a set here last year. Has not dropped a set here this year. I think he wins comfortably. Give me Sinner team total under 12.5 as my lock at minus 125. For the dog, I'm going to swing for it. I do think Alcaraz wins, but I think Felix can hang in there. I'll take Felix plus 3.5 games. I found a plus 121, like the number quite a bit. Alcaraz has looked good in the event, but he's faced off against some weak servers with De Minaur and with Musetti. Fritz did serve well, and he won a set. He had break point to go up a set in a break. So Fritz almost upset Alcaraz with a pretty similar game plan to what Felix should have for this matchup. Serve big, be aggressive, take away the timing from Alcaraz, and try to overpower him if you can. There's a path there, and Fritz showed it. So I don't mind the idea that Felix loses, but admirably, as he ends up losing what could be 7-6, 6-4, which is good enough for me. But Felix has been playing well. Beat Shelton and Zverev in the group stage, playing some great tennis in general, making the final in Paris as well. I think Felix is playing well enough to at least keep Alcaraz off balance for a minimum of one set. So if Alcaraz wins 6-4, 6-3, I'll eat it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be shocked if Alcaraz ends up beating him in straight sets. But I do think for the value, plus 121 for a very good server in good form on fast hard courts, to keep it respectable, I think it's a pretty reasonable ask. So I'll take it as my dog for the show. So once again, the lock and dog, the lock's going to be on Sinner. Team total under 12.5 against De Minaur at minus 125. For the dog, give me Felix plus 3.5 games at plus 121. To wrap it up for the show, back once again for the final in the ATP Finals. A reminder, though, after the next episode, we will be taking a break from the show because the next gen final is going to be a month from now. So we will be having basically an off season for a month on the show. So hopefully you tune into the last episode that we have for the month. But either way, once again, until next time, you can find me on Twitter as Radio. Find the Tennis Game Podcast on Spotify or Apple or on YouTube. So help the show grow. Like, subscribe on YouTube, leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Find me on Twitter, Radio. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.